तम परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री शाखामतांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so um, okay, I'll start from 24. So it's just not convenient if I have it like this. That's all. Otherwise, I have to switch between programs. Start with this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 24. संजय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेश गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. This is an incomplete sentence in Sanskrit. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Tatar kim vrittam, and then what happened? Iti apekshayam, anticipating this, Sanjaya praha, Sanjay spoke, evam iti. The text beginning, evam. Gudaka nidra. Gudaka means sleep. He is explaining the word Gudakeshena, which comes from the word Gudakesha, which is a combination of Gudaka and Isha. Gudaka Nidra. Tasyaha Ishaha. So Arjuna is described as the master of sleep. Swa Sakha Shri Bhagavad Guna Lavanya Smriti Niveshena Vijita Nidraha. Arjuna had conquered sleep because of his intense absorption in his remembrance of the charm of the attractive qualities of Sri Bhagavan, who was his own friend. Tat Paramabhaktaha. In other words, Arjuna was a most exalted devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. Tena Arjunena eva muktaha. And when Arjuna was of this nature, spoke to Lord Krishna, pravartitaha, when he was impelled in this manner, Rishikeshaha, Lord Rishikesha. Now again, Rishikesha. Rishika plus Ishaha is Rishikeshaha, the master of the senses. The Chitta Vritti Abhigyaha. Master of the senses means master of Arjuna's senses, which itself indicates that he knew about Arjuna's thoughts, the movement of Arjuna's mind. Lord Sri Krishna was in complete knowledge of Arjuna's thought processes. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Senayoh Madhye, between the two armies, Bhishma Drona Yoh Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Bhubhujam cha Pramukhatah Samukhe Ratha Uttamam Agnidattam Ratham Sthapiyatva Avacha. They placed the chariot, the most excellent chariot, Ratha Uttamam, because it was a chariot which had been gifted by Agni, right in front of Bhishma, Drona, as well as all the kings of the opposite side, of both the sides actually. And then he spoke. It's compiled. Let me read out the purport and then go to the next verse. What is it? This is not properly. Let me look for a better edition. How does this look like? It's better. What is this meeting? What is this? Okay, this one seems better. This must be wrong. What is this? In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Remember that Lord Krishna speaks Bhagavad-gita to Arjuna because he's a devotee who's perfect also. And he's a friend. Because he's a friend only, he cannot forget. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. As Rishikesha, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. 25. Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Gurus assembled here. Hey Partha, my dear Partha, son of Pritha, Samavetan Etan Kurun Pashya iti. Look at all the Gurus who have assembled here. Look at all these Gurus who have assembled. Partha, Hrishikesha, Shabdabhyam, idam suchyate. The words Partha and Hrishikesha indicate the following. Mat pitrishvasri putratvat. Because you are the son of the sister of my father. But sarathyamaham karishyami eva. I will certainly function as your charioteer. Tvam tu adhana eva yuyut sam tyakshyasi. And right now you are going to give up the desire to fight. Iti kim shatru sainya vikshanena. Iti sa upahasa bhav. The implication is Lord Krishna was joking. You're a warrior. What is the point in staring at the armies of your enemies? You are supposed to kill your enemies. So it appears that all the other chieftains means other chieftains of the Kaurava side. Sanjay Kahilen, Bhaktivinoda, Hey Bharata, what is the end of Bharata? Gudakesh Partha, Krishna Nikate ei Katha Kahile, when Gudakesh Partha told Lord Krishna this, Tini, Uphaipakshya Sainyagane Madhyasthale, then right in the middle of both the armies, Sri Utkrishta rose Stapan Kahilen, and he placed the chariot right there, the exalted chariot there, Evam Kahilen, and he said, Partha, son of Pritha, युद्धार्थ समवेत भीष्म द्रोण प्रभृति कौरवगण के निरीक्षण कर. Have a good look at all the Kauravas headed by Bhishma and Drona who have assembled for a war. As the super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Hrishikesha in this connection indicates that he knew everything. And the word Partha, or the son of Kunti or Pritha, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was the son of Pritha, the sister of his own father Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking. 26. तत्रापश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थः पितॄन् अथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि. Where Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. एवं भगवता उक्तः अर्जुनः परसेनाम् अपश्यत् इत्याह. Upon being addressed in this manner by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna saw the opposite army. With this in mind, he speaks Tatreti Sardhakena, 1.5 verses, beginning with the word Tatra. Tatra Parasenayam Pitrin Pitruvyan Bhurishrabah Prabhritin. In the army of his enemies, he saw fathers, which means father figures, such as Bhurishrava, Pitamahan, grandfathers, Bhishma, Somadatta Adin, such as Bhishma and Somadatta, Acharyan, Drona, Kripa Adin, Acharyas, teachers like Drona and Kripa. Matulan, his maternal cousins, Shalya, Shakuni Adin. No, Matula means maternal uncles. Maternal uncles such as Shalya and Shakuni. Vratrin, brothers. Duryodhana Adin, such as Duryodhana. Putran, sons. Lakshmana Adin, such as Lakshmana. Lakshmana was Duryodhana's son. Pautran, Naptrin, grandsons. Lakshmana Adiputran, the sons of Lakshmana and others. Sakhin, Vayasya, friends of similar age. Drauni, Saindhava Adin, such as Ashwathama, Saindhava, and so on. Suhridaha, well-wishers. Kritavarma, Bhagadatta Adin, such as Kritavarma and Bhagadatta. Evam Swasainya Api Palakshaniya. It should be understood that he also saw similar persons from his own army. This is only a partial indication. Ubhayoh api senayoh vasitan tan sarvan bandhun samikshya iti anvayat. Because it is stated that he saw these different types of friends, relatives from both armies. He saw these kinds of different relatives in both the armies. So he saw all of his different relatives and friends there. Kunti Putra Arjun. No. Bhagwan Arjun. Ubhayapakhiya Sainyadale Madhyasthale Pitrubha Pitamaha Acharya Matul Yatrikam Shashur Mitra Upakari Purush Sakal Vastita Chen Dikite Paile. Then Arjuna could see within the armies of both the parties father-like figures, his pitravyas, his uncles, paternal uncles, his grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, brothers-in-law. No. Friends, well-wishers, well-wishing men. So all of them, fathers-in-law, sorry. Okay. Fathers. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. See, this is itself an indication that Krishna had begun to influence Arjuna. Lord Krishna told him, look at the Kurus, which means look at your enemies, the ones that you need to kill. Arjuna did not see those whom he needed to kill. Instead, he saw relatives. Psychologically, it is different. It is a different, he registered it differently. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Bhurishrava, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfathers, Bhishma and Somadatta, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Shalya and Shakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, sons like Lakshmana, friends like Ashwathama, well-wishers like Kritavarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends. 27. Tan samikshya sakaunteya sarvan bandhun avastita kripaya paraya vishto vishidan nidam abravit. Tan samikshya sakaunteya. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Atha Sarveshwaraha Dayaluhu Krishna Saparikara Atma Upadeshena Vishwam Udidhirshuhu Arjunam Shishyam Kartum Tat Swadharme Api Yudhe Mahim Siyat Sarva Bhutani Iti Shruti Arthabhasena Adharmatam Abhasya Tam Samoham Kritavan Ityaha Tan Samikshya Iti. So then, in the current verse, it is pointed out that the Supreme Lord of all, the merciful Lord Krishna, who desired to deliver the whole world by teaching Arjuna about himself and his possessions, his energies. in order to make Arjuna his disciple, he made him deluded into thinking that engaging in war, even though it was his own specific duty to participate in a war, Arjuna's specific duty to participate in a war, he made Arjuna deluded into thinking that fighting in this particular war is not his duty, on the basis of a misconception caused by a very superficial understanding of the Shruti injunction. One should not harm any creature. Ma himsyat sarva bhutan. Tan samikshya iti. Kaunteya iti. Swiya pitrishvasri putratva uktya. Tad dharmau mohashokau tadatasya vyajyate. He called him, he is being referred to as Kaunteya here. Tan samikshya sa Kaunteya, the son of Kunti. Here, Arjuna is referred to as Kaunteya, which means that he is a son of the sister of Lord Krishna's own father. So, it was understood that at that time, Lord Krishna had made him overcome with delusion and distress. Kripaya kartriya ityukte. Because he was overcome by intense compassion. Overcome by compassion indicates that all of this was going on. Krishna was making him deluded, making him filled with lamentation. That is a third party influence. Swabhava siddhasya kripa iti idyotyate. Kripaya paraya. Ataha paraya iti tad visheshanam. He was overcome by transcendental or an exalted form of compassion, which is very natural for him. This kind of compassion is very natural for Arjuna. Therefore, the word paraya is used as an adjective. Aparaya iti vakshedaha. Now, see, kripaya paraya avishtaha. Kripaya paraya avishtaha. This can also be, by rules of Sanskrit grammar, it is also possible to split it as kripaya aparaya avishtaha. In which case, the meaning would be swasainnye purvapi kripa asti. He has been having compassion for his own army even from the beginning. Parasainnye tu apara api sa abhut. But even though compassion for one's own enemy is low class, when he is in a situation to fight and kill them, it is not appropriate to have compassion for them. So it is low class compassion. Aparaya will indicate that he was overcome by low class compassion. So even though They were his opponents. The enemies, the army was the army towards which he felt compassion. Whereas enemies, he felt compassion for them, which is of an inferior type. Vishidan, Anutapa, Vindan. And he became overwhelmed by lamentation also. Anutapa, regret. He attained a state of repentance. Atra ukti vishadayoho. Aikakaladyukti kale vishadakaryaani ashrukampa sanna kanthatadini vyajyante. While he was lamenting, he was also speaking. It was happening at the same time. So from this, it is understood that not only was he just speaking words of lamentation, but the effect of experiencing that lament in the form of tears coming out of his eyes, trembling, his throat being choked, and so on. All of that are revealed here. कुंतीपुत्र अर्जुन बंधु बांधव सकल के रणस्थले अवस्थित देखिया जत्परो नास्ति कृपाविष्ट ओ विषण्ण हुई बोलें Arjuna, the son of Kunti, when he saw his friends and relatives, everyone, standing on the battlefield, became overcome by unprecedented compassion for them. And while lamenting, spoke as follows. 28. Arjuna Vacha. दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Kaunteya, shoka vyakulam yadaha tat anuvadati drishtva imam iti drishtva imam iti. Sanjay repeats what Kaunteya had spoken when he was overcome by distress. Swajana, swabandhu vargam, jatav ekavachanam. Sagotra, Bantava, Gyati, Bantu, Swa, Vajana, Sama, Ityamaraha. When I see my people means my relatives. And Sri Baladev Vidya-Bhushan gives a grammatical note here. And he quotes from Amarikosha, a thesaurus, that Swajana refers to people of one's gotra, one's friends, one's relatives, acquaintances, and so on. Drishtva avasthitasya mama gatrani karacharana adin sidanti shiryante. When I see all of them, while I stand here seeing all of them, the different parts of my body, my hands, my feet, and so on, are trembling. Parishushiti iti. They're drying up. Shrama adi hetukat. Shokat atishayitvam asya shoshasya vyajyate. I'm drying up to such an extent that I am exhausted. I am overcome by fatigue and so on. That kind of drying up. अर्जुन को मिले, हे कृष्ण, ये सकल आत्मीय स्वजन के युद्ध अभिलाषी हुई अवस्थान करते देखिए. When I see all of these relatives of mine, all these people, my people, hankering for a war. Amar anga pratyanga sakal avash. I'm losing control of the different parts of my body. O mukh, parishushka hoitase. Helplessly, different parts of my body and my face, they're all becoming dried up. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in demigods. Whereas a non-devotee, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them, who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning. But he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjuna, had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still, one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness, but due to his soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. So the real reason why Arjuna was compassionate was because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. But Lord Krishna superimposed upon this compassion a material compassion. It is said therefore, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavatya Kinchana Sarvair Gunai Satasam Asate Sura Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna Manorathena Sati Dhavato Bhahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of God has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. 5:18, 12, 29. Vepatushcha sharire me, romaharshascha jayate, dandivam samsate hastar, pokchaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Vepatuhu kampa. The word vepatu means trembling. Romaharsha kapulakha. Romaharsha refers to standing of the hairs of the body on end. Gandiva Brahmshena Adhairyam. That Arjuna's Gandiva bow is slipping out of his hand indicates that he had lost his sober, patient nature. Tvak dahena hrid vidaha darshitaha. And the burning of his skin indicates that his heart was burning. All of this is evident. Amar sharir kompita or romanchita. Hasta hoite gandiv nipotita. Ebong tok paridabdha hoite. My body is trembling. And the hairs on my body are standing on end. Gandiva has slipped from my hand. And my skin has burnt up. There are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standings of the hair on it. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. There's no material fear. There's no fear under material conditions when one has attained transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. See, by this time, Lord Krishna has already superimposed the material conception of life on Arjuna. Question.
So, what is this? There is no fear in transcendental realization.
Yes, there is no fear in transcendental realization. When one becomes transcendently realized, he does not experience fear under material conditions.
What about that symptom that which exhibited by Lord Krishna by saying Mother Yashoda that fearing in transcendental ecstasy?
Yeah, this is under material conditions. That is all various symptoms of prema bhakti exchanged by Krishna and his perfect devotees.
And here, how Arjuna can be compassionate upon them, because he know that what the opponent party did to them, so he should be very very angry to fight with them.
We will hear Arjuna's argument. Arjuna's argument will become clear.
Okay.
30. न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं भ्रमति एव च मे मनः मित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. You see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. न च इति अवस्थातुं स्थिरः भवितुम्. I'm unable to stand, which means I'm unable to be sober. I'm unable to be patient. Manaha bhramati vacha iti daurbalyam murchayoho udaya. My mind seems to be wandering. This indicates that weakness and fainting or bewilderment, excessive bewilderment have arisen. Nimittani phalani atra yudhe viparitani pashyami. I see just the opposite consequences of this war. I don't see anything positive coming out of this war. I see the very opposite of it. I see everything negative. Vijayinah me rajya praptihi anandaha na bhavishyati. When I win over this war, I will not attain the kingdom. I will not attain the bliss of the attainment of a kingdom. Kintu tad paritaha anutapa eva bhavi. Rather, I will simply lament when I win over this war. Nimitta Shabda Phalavachi. The word Nimitta here means consequence. Kasmai Nimittaya atra vasasi ityadav tatha pratite, which is understood from usages such as desiring what consequences are you residing here? Kasmai Nimittaya, for what purpose? So the word Nimitta is used in Sanskrit literature, in the Vedic literature also, sometimes to refer to consequence. Nimitta can also mean other things. So it's just for clarification. Amar ar avasthan korivar samartha. I don't have the capacity to stand here even anymore. চিত্ত উদ্ভ্রান্ত হইতেছে। My mind is extremely confused. হে কেশব, ও লর্ড কেশব, আমি কেবল বিপরীত ভাব বিশিষ্ট দুর্নিমিত্ত সকল নিরীক্ষণ করিতেছি। I see evil omens. I only see evil omens characterized by the opposites of desirable consequences. So I see only causes of misfortune. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvitiya abhinave shatasyat 11.2.37. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. The Prabhupada reveals what is going on. It is by Krishna's will that Arjuna is now showing ignorance of his real self-interest. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. Mate vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnum. 7th canto. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. 31. न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. एवं तत्त्वज्ञान प्रतिकूलं शोकम् उक्त्वा तत् प्रतिकूलां विपरीत बुद्धिमाः न च इति. Sanjay had now till now described that Arjuna's lamentation was due to misconception of reality. Now he points out that Arjuna's intelligence was beginning to malfunction on the basis of that misconception of reality. Nacha iti ahave swajanam hatva shreyaha na eva pashyami iti. In this war, by killing my relatives, I don't see any benefit. I don't see any benefit for anyone by killing my relatives here. Iti. Dvavimau purushau loke suryamandala bhidino parivrat yogi yuktascha rane chahi mukho hataha ityadina hatasya shreyas paranat hantuhu me nakinchit shreyaha. Now we know from the Smriti that two types of men in this world, they pierce through the Surya Mandala in order to enter into Surya Loka. One is the sannyasi who is absorbed in spiritual practice, and the other is that Kshatriya who goes for war, looking straight at his enemy, and he's killed in war. So there are statements like this, which clearly say that when one dies in battle, one will be benefited. Shreyas, long-term benefit. But that is about Shreyas or long-term benefit for the one who is killed, not for the one who is killing. I am the one who is going to be killing. I am not going to get any benefit out of it. Asvajanam iti vakshedaha. Yeah. Hatva svajanamahave. Hatva svajanam can also be split as hatva asvajanam. By killing those who are not my own people. Asvajana vadhe api shreyasaha abhavat. Because by killing those who are not one's own people also, one does not get any benefit. Svajana vadhe punaha kutastaram. So then what to speak of by killing one's own relatives? Kutastaram tar ityarthaha. No. Yasho rajya labhaha drishtam phalamasti iti chet. But look, there are visible consequences in this very life, visible benefits in this very life. Fame, attainment of kingdom, attainment of fame, attainment of kingdom. These things are very much visible results, that which is visible in this life. Iti chet. If we were to say that, tatraha, then Arjuna says, na kanksha. I don't hanker for victory, nor do I hanker for kingdom and the various types of royal happiness that come along with that. Rajya adis prikha virahat upaye vijaye mama pravritti na yukta. Because I have no hankering for kingdom, victory, the happiness associated with royalty. Then naturally, okay, because I have no hankering for a kingdom or anything associated with that, it is not appropriate that I engage in the means to attaining that, which is to conquer my enemies. Randhane yatha bhojana ichha virahina. Like a man who has no desire to eat will have no interest to cook. Tasmat aranya nivasanam eva asmakam shlaghya jivanatvam bhavi iti. So it would be a much better life, much better source of livelihood, much better life, more glorious life, if we could reside in the forest. Residence in the forest itself would be much better life. स्वजनगण के निधन करा श्रेयस्कर देखितेছি না. I don't find killing my relatives to be productive of benefit. Hey Shri Krishna, my dear Lord Shri Krishna, আমি আর বিজয় বাসনা ও রাজ্য সুখ ইচ্ছা করি না. I no longer desire victory or royal happiness. Without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna. Conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. In such a blind conception of life, they forget even the causes of material happiness. In such a blind conception of life, they forget even the causes of material happiness. So when one loses one's understanding of reality, then even something very simple like you don't even gather the understanding that A leads to B, B leads to C. That also is lost. Trace it out from here. See, this is where Prabhupada is deriving all these ideas from. Andha yathandhe rupniyamanas tepisha tantriyam urudam nibandha. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as a leader or guru a similar blind man attached to it, external sense objects, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Important point to note is andhaha, andhai, like the blind guiding another blind man. So one loses a proper understanding of how things happen, what things lead to later happiness, what things lead to later unhappiness, both in this life and the next life. Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya who dies directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal orders, and the person in the renounced order of life, who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks that by killing his kinsman, there will be no happiness in his life. And therefore, he is not willing to fight, just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. He has now decided to go into the forest to live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. The whole war was fought only for this one point. Lord Krishna said, just give them 5 villages to rule. That also was refused. But because the only other alternative is they had to get something, therefore a war had to be worked out. The discussion went on for 1 year. But Arjuna has no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity for regaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and brothers and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to the forest to live a secluded life of frustration. 32 to 35. Kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhogair jivitena va, yeshamarthe kangshitam no rajyam bhoga sukhani cha, ta ime vastita yuddhe pranam syaktva dhanani cha, acharya pitarah putras tathaiva cha pitamaha matula shvashura putra shyala sambandhinas tatha etan nahantum ichchami natopi madhusudana api trailokya rajyasya hetoh kim nu mahikrite nihatya dhartarashtrannah ka pritisya janardana. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I'm not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the 3 words. let alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Achyutanam Prabhu.
Prabhu, we heard that in emergency, uh, a person belonging to a particular varna, he may accept occupations from lower varna. So, is it not applicable in this case? If they could have become Vaishyas instead of fighting.
No, because it is not an apatsthiti. It is not a crisis. They were righteous inheritors of the kingdom. Because those involved in administration cannot be blind and cannot be unhealthy, actually. Actually, Madhvacharya says even the Brahmana who decides on, suppose there is an intellectual debate going on, then there are certain persons who are well versed in logic who are called to adjudicate simply on the basis of evidence and logic. That's all. That's all. It's not that they don't take any sides. They're just well trained in logic and how to detect evidence, mistakes in logical presentations, misquotation of evidence, and so on. So they are called in as presiding judges in Brahmanical debates. Madhvacharya has given us a manual on how to conduct it. But he specifies that man has to be healthy. Those people have to be healthy. Similarly, amongst the Kshatriyas also, this person had to be healthy. Dhritarashtra. But Dhritarashtra was blind. So it was just simply illegal that he was the proxy king. And it cannot just go on like that. So the Pandavas were rightful inheritors. Therefore, Lord Krishna was pushing for it. It is not a cause of apat. Apat means that some unavoidable circumstance. This is avoidable. Okay, we'll stop with this.
Okay, bro.
Okay. 4 to 5 is okay with me. That much I can handle. Even if it is 2 days a week, I can handle it, but 4 to 5. Okay. Panchakalpatarvesha, Prasanti Bhirvacha, Vatana Bhavana, Pure Vaishnava, Pure Namaha.